Johannesburg is one of the most vibrant, exciting and wealthy cities on earth. Yet some of these gleaming skyscrapers are empty, abandoned because of the high rate of crime down there at ground level.
The violence is simply appalling. Some days the death toll rivals that in Iraq. And yet this is a highly successful, optimistic, thriving society. But it seems to be at war with itself. And we're not talking about black versus white here. This is something that affects everyone, everywhere.
This is the music that's liked by both black and white South Africans, and it glorifies crime.
This is Hillbrow in the centre of Johannesburg. It's a raffish, quite exciting, very interesting kind of place. When I was the BBC correspondent here back in the 1970s, it was a place where black and white people could live alongside each other in spite of all the laws of apartheid. But not anymore. As you can see, I think I actually am the only white person on the street. And I won't deny it's a bit dodgy. I've got several friends with me just to make sure that nothing happens. Who would be responsible for doing the unpleasant things? Well, the South Africans here will tell you it's not so much South African black people, it's the illegal immigrants. Altogether in South Africa, there's something like 6 million, perhaps even as many as 12 million illegal immigrants from mostly the rest of Africa. They come in from Nigeria, from Mozambique, and in particular, they come from Zimbabwe.
When people realised I was talking about crime, they came crowding round, desperate to tell me how bad it was here.
God, what's this? What caused it?
Stabbed me, see? Yeah.
Oh, that's bad, yes. So how many stabs? 1, 2, and 3? Is that a stab wound?
Yeah. You see, operation here, see? It's crime here.
Where did it happen?
Here, in the flat.
You were lucky to survive.
Yeah.
The economy is booming, you know, and everyone is just coming here to do some business, you see. So they're just taking advantage of the opportunities, you know, in terms of the economy. As you can see, also the other countries of Africa, the economy is kind of like declining, you know.
Places like Zimbabwe.
Yeah, for instance, Zimbabwe is a very good example, you see. So many people are moving out of them from those countries, Nigeria, Zimbabwe, and all these nations coming into Africa.
2 nights later, on the precise spot where we'd been talking to the crowd, a man was stabbed to death. His body lay here all night. So what's the South African government doing about this dreadful, all-consuming problem? A government minister, assuming, wrongly as we've seen, that only white people complain about crime, said they should leave the country if they don't like it. The chief of police in charge of fighting crime has been found to have close links with the mafia. He hasn't even been suspended. And the president himself?
I haven't come across anybody anywhere. These are ordinary people who live in the townships, who live in rural areas and so on, who actually stand up and say, President, these are our problems. Nobody says crime is out of control. They will say there is crime. Nobody can show that the overwhelming majority of these 40, 50 million South Africans think that crime is out of control. Nobody can, because it's not true.
He hasn't been to see ordinary people in Hillbrow, then. According to someone who's been close to him, President Mbeki simply doesn't know what to do about crime. The government refused to put up anyone to talk to us about it. Worse still, so did the police. I found I was wrong to think that Hillbrow was 100% black nowadays. In a block of flats which had once known much smarter days, we heard of an elderly white lady who was still there.
How do you do?
How do you do?
We thought it must be yours because of all the green plants everywhere. That's very nice to see you. Thank you. Thank you for inviting us in. What a fantastic place.
A little heaven in the hell of Hillbrow.
Mrs. Joy Judes is in her 80s, though she doesn't look it. She's all on her own. Her son's in Israel, her daughter in Cape Town.
I've had 2 smash and grabs, one in the city centre and one in Houghton. I've had my car stolen in the suburb in the west, not here. I feel safer here.
Do you have any form of protection when you go out?
My gas pistol. You just lift that up, keep your finger on, then press, and then a jet of whatever, poison, gas. It's dangerous, but I feel safer here than I do in the posher suburbs because the houses are isolated.
She may be right. The rich northern suburbs make a tempting target. A particularly dangerous moment is when you come home and have to wait while your electric gates open. That's when the attackers strike. Dr. Johan van der Vat is a top gynecologist. In the previous 4 days, one of his close friends had been murdered and 3 had been robbed and beaten up. The robbers' tactics have changed.
They want the people to be home, to open the safes, to hand over jewelry, cell phones, whatever there is, guns against their heads. So they want the people to be home. They don't want them not to be at home because the loot probably is much bigger if they are at home.
Yeah, stabbing, yeah. Grant Avenue, Norwood.
Stuart Masson is a trained medic working for a 24-hour emergency ambulance service. It's highly stressed, dangerous work. Johannesburg can be a very frightening place at night time. It turns out to be a typical incident. One man attacked another.
He's got stab wound over here and over here. They're both about 5-6 centimeters.
Both were injured.
Yeah.
As for the attacker, no one knows what to do with him, least of all the police. The ambulance won't take him because he's too violent. In the end, the police simply let him go. It's all just another statistic, one of the 300 acts of physical violence that occur every single day in South Africa. So what on earth can be done about it all? Well, South Africa has shown that it can change. This is Soweto, now an integral part of Johannesburg. Increasingly, people here are starting to realise that fighting crime isn't just about having more police and tougher laws. It's to do with everything, from stopping government corruption right down to the way individuals behave towards one another.
The environment that enables crime to flourish is the environment that all of us actually allow to do so, because it's easy to explain things away and ultimately justify them.
What, say it's just the apartheid
and say, well,
period,
it's all
or
apartheid, it's all the legacy of apartheid, we would say. We would say it's a transitional phase in which we live in, etc., etc. We could explain things away. But at the end of the day, I think all of us have a duty to say, what is it that we are actually going to do?
I just want to identify whether you are well vested with adjectives. Yes, Nomakawe?
This is Hernley Primary School in the Dubé area of Soweto, once a real no-go area and still pretty deprived. Most of these children are orphans. Their parents have died of AIDS.
Today I was sad.
Why?
For many of them, the only food they get each day is their school meal. But look how well turned out they are.
It doesn't mean that if you see them being neat, it means they have everything. No, they don't have, but they try. We also emphasize that try and look neat. At least it peps you up. Once you are not neat, you don't look, you are not happy.
When I spoke to the children, I found they were all fully aware of the high level of crime here and were worried about it.
When you're older, are you going to cause any crimes?
No.
Why not?
Because I have a shelter, food and clothes. My parents care for me.
What about you?
I will not cause any crime because I'm the good boy.
I think we must stop doing crime. We must think of one another.
What do you want South Africa to be?
I want South Africa to be a nation that will be a beautiful nation. And I want to change this nation when I grow up. And I want my dream to become a beautiful dream.
It's charming, but does it mean anything? Well, if South Africa is to rescue itself from the terrible plague of crime, it'll have to change itself from the ground up. And it might help if the government acknowledged that there was a problem.
Thank you very much. Keep it up.